Here's a quick case study in how Fox lies to their viewers and in so doing attempts to undercut the fact-based approach to politics and persuasion of people like you and I. So on the 5, Eric Bolling was talking about ISIS and how we're not doing enough to defeat the terrorist group, how we need to be spending more money, dropping more bombs, all of that. And in that segment he said this: "We're spending, ready for this, $9 million a day. Look at it this way. We're taking in $8 billion a day in tax revenue. We're spending $9 million to keep us safe." We're spending a lot more than that to keep us safe from other things, but we'll give him that. That's like if America was you, Dana. You had a $100 bill in your pocket. A bully says, "I'm going to beat you up." How much would you pay someone to get rid of that bully? $1 or $2, maybe $5? We're spending less than a penny to get rid of ISIS. Let's step it up. Now, that is not actually the lie. Shockingly, Eric Bolling is kind of accurate in the actual numbers he's using there. PolitiFact looked it up. The ratio is about the same, although the analogy is incredibly childish. That's not the lie. The lie is the next step, when Fox chooses to then spread his theory, minus the analogy, in a tweet that goes like this: "Eric Bolling, we're spending less than a penny a day to get rid of ISIS. Let's step it up." Now, that tweet was released on the 29th. As of when I am recording this, it has 271 retweets and 309 favorites. How many of those 271 plus 309 do you think fact-checked the information in that tweet? How many of them watched the 5 and know that he was making some sort of ridiculous, childish analogy there in terms of how much we're taking in and how much we're spending? I'm going to guess 0. Maybe 1 watched the show. The rest of them retweeted it and favored it and are now going to parrot it to everyone they know. The idea that we are literally spending less than a penny a day to fight ISIS. I got news for you. You cannot come up with anything that we are spending less than a penny on in terms of our federal government to deal with, regardless of the problem. No, we are in fact spending millions of dollars. We have already spent well over $1 billion just in this bombing campaign since last fall. If you want to spread back to a few years ago, there's almost no limit to how much we have spent fighting ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Afghanistan, the Taliban, the Baathists, whoever. This big conglomeration of all of these different threats that we think we can defeat by simply bombing them, although we clearly cannot. We only give birth to new, more horrendous forms of our former enemies in so doing. And then phase 3, of course. Phase 1, him making the analogy. Phase 2, that they spread it outside of context on their Twitter. And phase 3 is tomorrow O'Reilly is going to go on the air and then say, some say, we're spending less than a penny to fight ISIS. Now, look, I understand I don't need to convince you that Fox is dishonest. I don't need to convince you that we should feel sympathy for their audience who's going to, willingly eat up this nonsense? No, of course, they're obviously dishonest. They're not an actual news organization. And their audience doesn't deserve any sympathy because they're not interested in actually corroborating any of the facts. But you do need to be on the lookout for the way that they attempt to subvert actual discussion, actual thinking, persuasion, learning about the issues, because it's likely that you're going to deal with these people, perhaps on Twitter, perhaps on Facebook, perhaps in real life, and you're going to need to disarm them after they've been armed in such a ridiculous fashion. It's depressing that we have to follow this every day, but that's politics in America in 2015.